Hello, everyone, and welcome to another webinar by Royal Cyber. My name is Mir Mustafa Ali Pasha. I will be your host and one of the speakers for today. Some ground rules for a smooth experience before we begin. If you have trouble seeing my screen or hearing me, please notify in the chat window located on the right side of the screen. You can post your questions and comments in the chat box anytime during the presentation. There will be a dedicated slot for Q&A towards the end of the presentation where you can uh, get an opportunity to ask questions and get your responses. You can also post your questions or requests for any follow-up information on the email ID shown right here. I'm actually highlighting it using my laser pointer. Lastly, we would love to hear back from you about today's sessions and by completing a short survey which will be shared towards the end. All right. So next 45 minutes, we will see what is brewing in I2AC space, the latest features that are being released today, and how can you use them to automate and accelerate the migration of your IIB flows to IBM App Connect Enterprise in a way that greatly benefits customers like yourself. That's me on the left side. I manage the middleware and integration practice at Royal Cyber, focus on helping customers get the best return on investments on their digital transformation journey and migration uh, journeys as well. On the right side is my colleague, Mr. Farooq Zubairi, who's a IBM middleware certified solutions architect at Royal Cyber. He has tremendous experience in designing and implementing projects on IBM ACE for our customers, especially those migrations from IIB to ACE across the globe. So here is a quick look at the agenda. We will talk about what is I2AC, what are the new features being released today. Quick look at the roadmap on what's coming up in the next few quarters, and you will also get a chance to see I2AC in action as part of the demo, right? And then we'll look at what are some of the ROI and benefits of using a solution like I2AC, right? Why really migrate from IIB to App Connect? What is the need, right? What are the some industry recommended best practices for migration projects? And then we'll open the floor for Q&A. So, and then before we wrap up, we also have an exclusive offer for those attending today's webinar. Okay, I'll discuss that before we close, so stay tuned till the end. But first, hey, quick introduction about Royal Cyber and who we are. So, Royal Cyber is a mid sized, fast growing IT consulting and digital transformation company specializing in services, solutions, and software. We have more than 1,500 plus consultants across the globe. Our headquarters is in Naperville, Illinois, United States, and we have a global presence with offices in Canada, UK, Australia, and the Middle East. We do have multiple offshore development centers in India and Pakistan. Our strategic partnership with a lot of technology companies on the globe, such as IBM, Google, Microsoft, Salesforce, Amazon, etc., coupled with business agility and follow the sun delivery model, makes Royal Cyber an obvious choice for a lot of our customers globally. We also provide reliable and high performing solutions and services on all areas such as APIs, middleware and integration, DevOps, automation, cloud, generative AI, data and analytics, all right, data science, RPA, e-commerce, and legacy systems such as mainframes and midrange. Now, for those of you who are attending this webinar for the first time, what does I2AC mean? What does it really? Right. So let's get into the topic. I2AC really stands for IBM to App Connect, a migration accelerator, right? Developed by the Royal Cyber Labs, and this is useful to fast track the completion of your IIB to ACE migration project. So very simple yet a powerful utility which simplifies the whole migration process, resulting in huge productivity savings for the team to the tune of nearly 4 times. We are releasing version 1.5 today, which has some exciting features which I'll talk about shortly. The entire solution comes with a managed framework that provides an easy to use UI and event log and handles all errors gracefully. It leverages IBM's Transformation Advisor to provide you change recommendations and a nice summary report that shows a snapshot of the migration activity. You can see all the integration servers that are migrated successfully or failed during the migration activity, including details such as error code and reason for the failure on the migration summary report. Any changes needed to the source code to make it compatible with the newer version of ACE, that needs to be handled manually at this point in time. Hey, but keep an eye on the future releases. You might see something where the solution can do most of it automatically for you. So let me quickly summarize the features of I2AC. Right, as I said in the previous slide, it has a very simple to use UI, providing a low learning curve, literally a no code platform. It supports multiple platforms such as Windows and Linux. It has a one-time setup, although to configure and use the solution. It's just a one-time activity, right? And then you can operate it with the click of a button, one-click approach to backup, migrate, and rollback. It does support multiple migration patterns such as in place and parallel. It also supports migration at the node level as well as at the execution group level. It automatically restarts the migrated nodes and integration servers post the migration activity. It also provides a migration um, report summarizing the migration activity and the status of target nodes and the reason for error if any of those failed. You also get an excellent HTML based recommendations report, which is generated by leveraging the IBM Transformation Advisor solution. Okay, it also supports migrating of your MQ objects, IBM message queue, queue manager, queues, channels, the security config and whatnot from the server where your IIB is running, right? That could also be migrated using I2AC features, right? And if you want to migrate at a node level or execution group level, that is also supported. So when you migrate, the node names are intact, right? We don't change the node names. So if you have a node name called node 1 in IIB, when you migrate it to ACE, it would still be called as node 1. However, I have seen customers who name their nodes as IIB version 10, node 1, IIB version 9, node 5, something like that, right? So when you migrate to ACE using I2AC, you would still see those node names like intact, all right? So you should think about maybe, right, how do you want to start renaming those nodes or recreating them with a better name? All right, so those are some of the things you might want to consider before the migration project begins. Now, all of the events which are generated during the migration process are properly logged for future references and for troubleshooting purposes. So with that said, let's look at what is new in this release. Right. So in this release, we are launching exciting features you have been waiting for. The first one is the support for in-place migration on both Windows and Linux platforms. So why do you need in-place migration? Let's say your enterprise architect team decides to run IAB and ACE on the same server to save on infrastructure costs, for instance, right? So you don't need to really worry. You can use I2AC solution to perform in-place migration and seamlessly migrate your IAB flows and configurations over to ACE running on the same server. The only prerequisite being for this to work is that ACE should have been installed with the desired architecture and minimum recommended configurations prior to performing in-place migration using this solution. Right, that makes sense, right? And the next feature we are releasing today is the ability to roll back your migrated flows from ACE to back to IIB. Now, why would you want to do that, right? So if you, let's say you're trying the solution, you want to see how it works, you just migrate a couple of flows, a couple of nodes or execution groups to ACE from IIB, both of them running on the same machine, and then you decide to, okay, I see how it works. Let me roll back and put IIB back to its original state. Then you could use this option. You could also use this option if you, when after migration, if you see some of the nodes are really not coming up, it's taking longer to bring those nodes up. The resolution SLA, if you're exceeding that, In that case, I think it also makes sense that business sometimes takes a decision to roll back to the previous state, the original state of IIB, until that issues are figured out and resolved, right? So these are a couple of situations where you might want to try out, or you'd love to have an automated rollback option as opposed to doing all of that manually, right? Which is exactly why we have baked this feature right into the product. Okay, and then this release also comes with support for migrating your Java classes to IBM ACE configurations. It also supports seamless migration of IIB flows using Kafka nodes, database nodes, and enterprise adapters like SAP, PeopleSoft, and etc. Right, there have been questions in the past by some of the folks who attended the previous webinars. um, by the way, this is the third in the series of I2AC webinars. Right, so we have got few questions in the past. Hey, does it support this? Does it support that? So, no, those are good inputs for the product. So those, all of them have been incorporated into this release. And now you have most of them covered. All right. Okay, so here is a quick look at the user interface of InPlace Migration. This is actually a preview. You would see the full blown in the demo. All you need to do is simply select the migration type as in place on the screen and choose an action you intend to perform on the pop-up. Right, you get a couple of options. One is an option to migrate your IIB nodes to App Connect on the same server, or you could also choose the rollback option if you're trying to roll back to a rollback a previously performed in place migration activity. All right, so before I show you the demo, what we really wanted to do today is share a technology roadmap of the I2AC solution in itself. Right, so we have so far released two versions in the last 2 quarters, and this is the third one in the series with lots of nice features. Right, the red line here, in fact, indicates the current release. Okay, and we do have a few more releases planned in the upcoming quarters as shown on the screen. And as and when they're ready, we will have webinars to talk about them and show you how those features really work. So keep an eye on your inbox, and also subscribe to Royal Cyber on your favorite social media platform, be it LinkedIn, Meta, Instagram, or X, for instant updates. All right, so without further delay, I would like to hand it off to my colleague, Mr. Farouk, who will show you how easy it is to perform in place migration and rollback with simplicity and ease in just about a few clicks. Over to you.
Hi everyone, this is Farooq. Welcome to another webinar of I2AC. Before proceeding with today's demo, I'll just try to recap what we have already done. As of now, we have done two series of these webinars. In start, we there was an introduction of the application, the UI version. We explained the parallel in place migration as a concept, and we implement the extraction migration as a part of the parallel migration, and we explain how migration happens, how in parallelly we can have two source and destination up and running, and you can just move as per your feasibility. In the second webinar, we added MQ migration as well. So you would have an option that from the source, in case of parallel migration, you can move your node with your MQ instance, MQ queue manager, sorry, or you can have skip any particular node, and so you will have a sequential mechanism to migrate your source to your destination. Now, today's topic is in-place migration. In-place migration is also very important. So just imagine that as in the previous webinars, we explained that in parallel, normally what we have is we have a new set of machines for the new systems. So you have existing IIB machines, and then you have a separate machines where you install, configure your app connect, and once you these are ready, you just take a backup from your source and you can move that to a new machine, and you just migrate that, so yeah, that all the services will be in both systems and you can access in parallel. In place, basically, there are two benefits of in place. One benefit is that you don't have a new infrastructure, you don't need new machines. You can always use existing IIB if it has enough resources. You can utilize that. You can install App Connect there, and then you can move your source from your IIB instance to your App Connect instance, and you can start running your services into the new App Connect engine. This is one benefit, that you don't need a uh, um, different machines. You always use your existing infrastructure. And second benefit is, there is always a mechanism that you can come as a rollback. So just imagine that I start my migration. There were a bunch of nodes associated. One of the node has a problem, so I just want to roll back and come back to IIB so that it won't impact any business. And then I can plan and migrate the issues and fix those issues, and I can again migrate. So if we would recommend, if you have a multiple nodes, always do a iterative or one by one migration strategy, where you pick one node, move to the destination, test that. Once you have confidence on that node, just go and pick the other one. So you will have a different stack of your backups. So wherever you need to work or you need to reiterate, you just go into that backup, roll back to IAB, and then you can work on that and always migrate again. So just based on this concept, I just want to start with the demo. This is what my IAB installation, where you can see I have one uh, node, rc underscore in place, which is up and running. It has one application. So if we go to the URL and try to see what we have in the server, so you can see that we have this administrative portal for IEB, and this is the application. We have one execution server. So if we'll go to App Connect to see what we have, is right now installation is there, but I don't have anything installed there. No integration node has been defined on this machine, so it's clean. So now we'll go and start our application. Now if you see in previous demonstration, we always use extract or parallel migration types, but now as we have in place, so we need to choose the in place. Once you'll select the in place, you will have two options. You want to migrate, or you want to roll back your already migrated source. So as I want to migrate, so I'll select the migrate. It says that this is the node. I just want to create the node. I'll hit the migrate. Now let's start the migration. First step, it will uh, take a backup from the source, and as it will take a backup, so basically it has to extract and stop the source system. So there's the drawback which I was mentioning in initially, was that in place there is some downtime, because you have to shut down your source. You'll back up your source, and until you will not migrate to your destination, your source has a downtime. Once it will be migrated to your destination systems, then you can start working on your. So there is a downtime with this kind of migration. So backup is finished. uh, Now as we have the backup, now let's go and see what is the situation on IIB. So you can see that there is a one node which is stopped now. That means it is no more accessible, because we have started a migration. Until you will not complete it, your source is not accessible now. Now we can see that my application already detected that somebody has taken a backup from the source, and it wasn't in place. Now it has to be migrated to a destination. Though my UI has been started for the destination part, it already start analyzing the transmission advisor, and we want to see that. You have to click this and you will open, and it will show you that what you have in this node. We have one execution group, which is EG1, as I'd shown you there in the server console, and there is uh, some some suggested issues that you need to take care. That the issue is not an issue; it's critically zero issues, potentially no issue. There's a suggestion which is there, that message flow is using basically file input nodes. So It is recommended when you're using the file info node. There are some recommendation for the app connect if you're trying to use over the cloud and you want to containerize it. You won't be able to access the file as is. So that's some suggestion that you're using. Use it intelligently. So now let's go back here. I think we are okay with this, and I'll hit the migrate. So now it will start migration of my backup, which was a part of InPlace. Now once this will be done, we'll see that the same service which was deployed in IIB is no more available there. But the same service with the same ports and same content will be deployed on App Connect, and this will be available for user to access that on a new system. So it seamlessly will move everything from source to your destination with the new App Connect environment seamlessly with some downtime because it's in place. So summary is being generated. Uh, so while it is generating the summary, we'll go back to App Connect. And now if you'll see the same application, RC underscore in place with administration this UI is been running. So all the ports which were defined for this node on the source are there in the destination. Now if I'll go back to server, so previously, if you remember, it was showing IBM integration, which was IIB. Now if you just refresh it, because at the same port, now if you'll see, it is start showing me App Connect. So the same configuration for the server and application is moved from source to the destination, and now it's a different view. I can see EG1. I can go to EG1 and I can see my application is there, and I have everything attached with that. I can start stop from here. I can I can go to the application, and if I want to change some settings, like if I want to change the configuration thread pool, I can do that. Now let's go back and see what we have in the source side. So in the source side, you can see there is a no integration node. So see the difference. When I start the migration, it stopped until I did not complete my migration. It was stopped. So so now same way, if I'll go again and try to roll back my changes, same thing will happen again. So it will stop my destination first, and once I'll complete my rollback, it will be again come back to my destination, and the same services will be start running on the IAB. So there is a two-way migration step. So that, as I said initially, we always will have an option to iteratively perform that. The benefit of is that uh, it at any point of time, if you need to come back and roll back to any node, you don't have to do it as a whole. So if I have four nodes, I can always iteratively migrate one by one. Whatever is working, I can keep it on destination system. And if anything has an issue, I can always come back, roll back with that node to a source. So it's kind of parallel migration in some sense, so that microservices can run on both systems until I will migrate everything with zero issues. Then I'll just shut it down my source. Uh, Now, in the same way, we can roll back uh, um, destination part again into the source. As I said, if we have some issues or we figure out that the services are not working, we can easily roll back whatever we have deployed on the destination. So same way, we need to go to the main application on the source. We'll select in place, then we'll click rollback, and the rollback button will be enabled. So before going to the rollback, I can show you what is App Connect looks like. So in App Connect, we can see that in RC underscore in place node is up and running. And if we'll try to go and see what we have in the IIB side, we can see there's no integration node. So the previous node, which was on IIB, it is being moved into App Connect. And if we'll go uh, to the browser to see right now what we have IBM App Connect as a browser, and then we can see this application. So I'll just click rollback. So in case you have multiple nodes in your migration, and you have set up in a way that each node is a separate iteration, that you can find the different nodes here, or even if you have multiple nodes and you keep it as a part of one migration node, you would have multiple nodes here to be shown that whatever you want to roll back. So you will have an option here to select that is you want to roll back everything, or you want to roll back a part of your a migration. So as I earlier said that we have both options. So it's up to uh, your case where you want to migrate everything, or you want to migrate iteratively and roll back a part of that. So I'll just click roll back, and this will just, as we have one node, so it will just roll back that particular node. So it start the rollback, and I think it's gonna take a minute or so, and it will roll back, and then I'm gonna show you the again what is the status on IIB and App Connect side. So this basically feature is a good feature as a part of the in place, as you will always come back to your original state of the application, because the you always have the backup which you migrated. So rollback is finished. Close it. And now again, we'll go on to the first, we'll see what is the status on App Connect side. So this is App Connect, and now in App Connect, we can see there is no node on this machine defined, so it has been removed from App Connect side. And if we go to IAB and we're gonna run this, you can see again RC underscore in place with the admin console. Now if I'll again go to our admin console and I click, so it is again should be there because I have a long view. I just, so now it is again into the IAB integration node. So as seamlessly everything is not changed, either it's administrative ports or on application ports, all will be same. You just switching from one environment to the another environment, from IAB to App Connect, and going back from App Connect to IAB. So everything is going seamlessly. So this is one of the useful migration pattern which I think is good to share with you guys. If you have any question, let us know, and thank you very much for giving me opportunity to show this demo. Thank you.
Thank you, Farooq, for an insightful demo. Now, folks, I want to turn your attention towards why do you really need to migrate? Okay, and there are some really unavoidable reasons. Let's begin. Right, number one, IIB version 10. Right, it has exceeded its standard support time. Right, the end of support was announced last year on 30th of April. Okay, and the IBM extended support offer, which is usually for 3 years, is just about a year and a half away, beyond which your support would stop. Now this is one primary reason why you should start thinking about migrating away from IIB if you're still using or stuck with IIB version 9 or version 10 or even any of the previous version. I cannot think if there will be any customers who might be using the WebSphere message broker version 8. But I'm just saying you've run out of time already. All right, so you should be on 9 and 10 before last year, and you should really jump over to ACE this year. All right, if you haven't done it, this is the time to take that action. Okay, um, and so with that, you could literally migrate over to IBM App Connect or any of the other integration platforms in the market, right? But why really IBM App Connect Enterprise? Okay, now this new solution, IBM ACE version 12, the latest, really offers tons of new great features which you really don't want to miss. right, and really on par with other products in competition in the market. Right. The first one is your development productivity. Your development productivity is improved and through intelligent and optimized tool chain support. Right. AI powered mapping assist that generates smart suggestions that are the best matches for the target fields. Test and DevOps automation support that fast tracks the adoption of agile practices while also mitigating risks. Right? It also supports or has extended connectivity with over 200 plus pre-built smart connectors in the catalog. So if you want to connect to SAP, Salesforce, CRM, Slack, MS Teams, anything for that matter, right? So you get all of them, all the connectors, smart connectors, in fact, available readily in the catalog for you to pick, choose, and start connecting applications. There is a support for hybrid cloud operations, which is widely popular nowadays. Finally, it also supports business transaction monitoring, with which you can monitor the end-to-end life cycle of your enterprise transactions. Okay, now these are some of the unavoidable features that you should start thinking about when you think about ACE. Okay, it also supports multiple deployment topologies, right? On-prem, cloud pack for integration, or running ACE as a standalone on a Docker container. You could do all of that, right? It comes with tons of technical benefits under the hood, such as ACE utilizes lesser resources, such as CPU, memory, and disk space. Right? ACE literally uses only a single operating system process, while IIB needs multiple processes for a single integration server. In an App Connect Enterprise, policies are used instead of config files. So policies can be packaged into a bar file so that change release will be a single deployment. And in IIB, if the changes are made to config files, you have to reload the integration server for that change to take effect. But that is not the case when it comes to App Connect Enterprise. Developers can actually use the policies to control your runtime behavior. Right? I hope that makes sense and this is why you should start thinking about migrating away from IIB and into App Connect Enterprise. So let's move on and see some of the migration approaches. That traditionally, migration was done manually. However, in an era where we're talking about large language models like ChatGPT, right, that is catching the world, and it make really lot of sense to look for ways to automate the migration project and complete them swiftly so that your team can focus on creating innovative work for the business, right? So with the manual migration approach, what's wrong with that, right? All the tasks are really done manually, which takes considerable amount of time, and most of which are prone to human errors, right? Which is why it's time consuming, and so we don't really recommend them, right? However, with the automated migration approach, some or all of the tasks, or majority of them, could be automated or semi-automated. All the resources and configurations could be extracted and moved to the destination systems automatically based on few input parameters, like what I2AC does. Hence, the chances of error are significantly low, allowing you to accelerate your projects and go to market in a shorter time frame. So that is exactly why we highly recommend this approach, and I2AC really comes handy in this space. So, what is the return on investment of using I2AC for your migration projects? What are the benefits that you get out of it? Right. The first thing is the quicker time to market. Right. You could really accelerate your migration projects, your migration activities, and increase employee productivity. We spoke about that. It comes with better dependencies management. We are literally leveraging IBM's transformation advisor for recommending changes to your services, for to get a glimpse of um, what needs to be changed before the actual migration happens. The solution itself is platform agnostic, so it can work on Windows, Linux, and AIX without much changes. It also employs all the best practices recommended by IBM. Right? It's also very easy to use, as you have seen in the demo. It has one-time configuration, one click to backup, migrate, and roll back. No need to fiddle with any scripts or MQSA commands. right? It gives you a better visibility of your migrated environment, right? The summary report essentially shows you the health of the node or server, and if any application has restarted, that is also indicated on the report. Okay, so here's the moment you have been waiting for, an exclusive offer which you can take away and discuss with your teams and see how you can benefit your project, can benefit your customer, can benefit out of it, right? You can take this away, talk to your managers, architects, or influencers, or directors, IT managers who hold the decision making within your organization, and tell them, hey, this is there is an excellent offer that is rolled out by Royal Saber for those who are attending the webinar today, and talk to them in detail about it. So let's look at what those offers are. Right? The first one I want to talk about is a complimentary, no strings attached assessment offer, which can help you really get started with the migration journey if you haven't started yet. Right. So even if you have started and midway and you need help and want to see how it I2AC can really accelerate the speed of execution, you could still take up this approach, this offer, right? It really includes identifying a use case where you need help. In this context, it could be specific integration nodes or execution groups that you want to see how it works with the solution when you want to migrate them to ACE, right? It also entails reviewing your existing IIB landscape in terms of how many nodes are there, how many execution groups do you have, how many MQ objects are there, what are those configurations, what applications are used connecting to exchange massage and exchange data between applications and whatnot, right? And then really show you how to achieve significant cost savings. Okay, so as a deliverable of this assessment, what you get is a report of proposed solution to the identified use cases, projected return on investment, right? Implementation cost, a tentative implementation cost to give you an idea of what it would really take if this has to be implemented, along with the timeline, and an implementation plan. All right, so you get an idea of how long does it take to get this done, what is the cost associated with it, what skill sets are required to get this get get this done, and compare that vis-a-vis doing all of this manually. So that's essentially what an assessment offer is all about. No strings attached. There's no dollar value associated with it. You could get started right away with this, right? Because there's no investment from your side. The second offer is essentially for those customers who are in the midway in the process of migrating, have run into a lot of issues, and they need really additional help. However, before they take the full plunge, they wanted to test Royal Saber's expertise with a real use case which could be implemented in their non-product product environments, right? So this is where your jumpstart really kicks in. It could be a continuation of your assessment, or you could just start fresh. You can actually implement the use cases identified in the assessment phase or in this phase, and see it implemented, migrated using I2AC solution, and really visualize how does it work firsthand, right? Now this could take anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the complexity of the landscape itself. It could really take much shorter time frame if some of those are really simple in nature and very limited in scope. However, all of that would really incur some amount of cost. But the good news is that the price is heavily discounted for this jumpstart package, exclusively only for those who are attending today's webinar. All right. So if this sounds interesting to you and you want to take a stab at it, take advantage of this offer by sending us an email at the email ID shown here, info@royalcyber.com, and join hands with Royal Cyber to quickly achieve your migration goals. Okay, so we have almost come to the end of today's session. That's all we had for you today. We can take some time now to answer any questions that are there on the chat. Okay, and if anybody's interested in asking questions over the mic, we would be happy to respond by unmuting your mic. So please let us know your preference in the chat. Okay, thank you all. Thank you so much. I know it doesn't end here. If you have more questions or need any additional information, you can always reach us at info@royalcyber.com. The email ID is shown on the screen. And if you want to really talk to us, you can call us also on the number shown on the screen here. It's +1 630 355 6292. Thank you all. It was a pleasure having you today. See you again in another exciting webinar. Until then, take care and stay safe.